Yo, what is up, guys? It is Dick or the Notorious Fantasy back in today with another fantasy football mock draft. Today we are doing a 12-team half PPR draft that is also a keeper draft for one of my subscribers whose name is Pack Hazard. Now, if you guys aren't in a keeper league, this video is still going to be pretty informational, pretty helpful because even though a lot of these first round guys are going to be gone, the whole rest of the draft very similar to your at-home draft, so this can help pretty much anyone. So we are the 11th pick in this keeper draft, and I'm going to explain all the keepers. So the first, everyone had to keep someone in the first round. That's how this works. So that's not how all keeper settings are, but that's how this keeper league works. So the first keeper was Christian McCaffrey, followed by AK at the 2, Travis Kelce at the 3, Hill at the 4, Thomas at the 5, AB at the 6, Julio at 7, Zeke at 8, DeAndre Hopkins at 9, Todd Gurley at 10, Saquon, which is my team, at 11, and Devontae Adams at 12. So before I start this mock draft, I'd like to ask you guys, could please go down below and click that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me, and it would really mean a lot to you because I'm going to be helping you guys dominate the draft through all these mock videos, through all of these videos I make during the day that are about like wide receiver sleepers, running back sleepers, all that shit. You guys are going to be able to watch that. And then during the regular season, there's going to be waiver wire trades, streams, all of that stuff that's going to help you dominate during the regular season. And then once you get to the postseason, you're going to be saying all the same stuff so that you can win your fantasy football championship and get that glorious fantasy football championship ring, trophy, whatever it is for your league. And if you don't already have one and you were interested in going to get one, go down below in the description because I do have a sponsor called fantasybros.com. And if you do use my code Notorious at checkout, you do get 5% off. So after the spiel I just went on, let's get right into the draft. So we do begin the draft in the second round. The first pick of the second round being DJ. That was a pretty easy pick in my opinion. Now right here, we have quite the hard decision. Do we go with the double New York? We got the Giants running back, Barkley. Do we get Bell? Do we go for James Conner or do we go for Nick Chubb since we're going to be looking towards getting two RB1s right here? Now, this is going to be something that I know you guys can comment on, and I know I will see comments about my decision between Bell, Connor, and Chubb. Now, I like all three of these guys. I'm going to be honest, I don't really like Bell that much. I will draft him. I'll probably end up having him on one of my teams, but I don't really love Le'Veon Bell. I don't really know what the Jets are going to be doing with him. Adam Gase is a crazy motherfucker. I know that as a Dolphins fan. This dude's crazy. All right? And I don't know necessarily if he's going to use him as heavily as a lot of people believe. We won't see him play at all in the preseason, so we won't really know that. James Conner, on the other hand, we really do know what he is. A lot of people believe that he's in some type of committee. Now, have the Pittsburgh Steelers ever used a committee? No, they didn't use one last year when Le'Veon Bell was gone, and they won't use one this year with James Conner. And then there's Nick Chubb, the guy who looks like he could be a top 10 running back, a top 5 running back, even on the Cleveland Browns, an emerging team. And this pick is very, very hard. And I think my heart wants Nick Chubb on the team, if I'm being honest with you. And it's so hard to avoid talent like Le'Veon Bell with this pick. It's so hard to do. It's so hard, but it's also hard to miss out on James Conner because I know if James Conner stays healthy, he'll probably be a top 8 back. And it's just I just like Nick Chubb. I've got a full Chubb for Nick Chubb because this guy is going to dominate the beginning of the season. And then once Kareem Hunt comes back, he's still going to fucking dominate because Kareem Hunt's not going to really steal much of his job if he dominates so early on. He plays great in training camp. He busted off like a 60-yard rush in training camp. He saw 2 touches in the preseason opener because they're not using them. They're not trying to let their guy die, the guy that they need to win. So I believe in Nick Chubb. They shipped off Duke Johnson. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is kind of a crazy move, but I really do believe in Nick Chubb. So after we pick Chubb, Le'Veon Bell came off the board, followed by James Conner, D. Will, OBJ, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, Pat Mahomes, Juju Smith-Schuster, Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen, T.Y. Hilton, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, Devontae Freeman, Marlon Mack, Stephon Diggs, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, and now it is our pick. So if you did notice that the third team over here, not the one, not the two, but the three, went with Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, and Melvin Gordon. This is a strategy. This is a bold strategy, Cotton. All right, because getting Kelce and Mahomes is obviously a great stack. That's going to win you a lot of games. Paying a first and second round price for it, I don't know if I like that because the thing is, Pat Mahomes is going to go earlier than you think he does. I know in all these mocks you see him on my channel, on other channels, on the internet that you're doing, you're going to be seeing Mahomes or Rodgers going like the 5th or 6th round. But you guys, those aren't mocks with people that are in your league. In your real league, Pat Mahomes could go in the 1st round. Or he'd go in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. He's likely not going to fall to the 5th or 6th round where I'd really want to draft him. A guy like Tom Brady, who's not even that good in fantasy, you'll see go in the 2nd round of your league because people are crazy, okay? And you need to understand that. So we have three great running backs here. So I think I'm just going to get, or not three, two great running backs here. So I'm just going to snag a wide receiver. Now, I like a lot of these guys on the board here. I like Woods, and I really like Godwin. And this decision is going to be hard. I also like Cooks, but I like Woods more than Cooks because I think that Woods is just more consistent. Cooks is going to score a lot of points still. They'll probably finish around each other, but I just prefer to get Robert Woods. He's just to my liking. He was pretty solid last year. I think he's going to be solid this year. Or Chris Godwin, a guy on a team that is going to be down a lot. They're going to be slinging the ball, and they're going to be looking for those huge touchdowns. But right here, well, because they're going to be down a lot, so they're just going to be slinging the ball, like I said, and they're in a division that promotes shootouts, and there will be a lot of those for Chris Godwin. And Mike Evans is the wide receiver one, but Chris Godwin will get his. And now that Adam Humphries is gone, Adam Humph Daddy got shipped off to the Tennessee Titans. I believe that Chris Godwin will be great this year, but I think I'm just going to buy in to the offense that is better, and that is the Rams. They're obviously better. They do have three wide receivers that could potentially all go for 1,000 yards. I'm not a Cooper Kupp believer, but I think Woods and Cooks could easily both get 1,000 yards. And I think that Robert Woods is just overall going to have a really great season. Starting with Robert Woods, Zach Ertz at the board, followed by David Montgomery. So our decision right here is still pretty complicated because George Kittle is still here, so if you're a big tight end guy, you love getting those tight ends in the early rounds. This is where you'd have to pull the trigger on Kittle because he ain't coming back to the 5th. I'll tell you that much. I've seen him go to the 5th maybe one time, and I've done hundreds of mocks on my channel. So we're going to look here, and the thing here is, do we want to get our flex, or would we rather fill out our wide receiver position? And since this is a 12-team league, I think I'd rather just get the flex with a running back that I really like, and then just wait one more round and get a wide receiver that I still like in the middle rounds. The difference between, well, I think Godwin's going to be way better than all these other guys, but the difference between a guy like Kenny Galladay or Lockett and Boyd or Mike Williams or DJ Moore is really not that high. Not that much of a difference. Whereas the difference between the guy I'm going to go at running back, which is Chris Carson, above a guy like James White. James White did finish top 10 last year. Maybe that's a bad analogy. Maybe a guy like Lamar Miller is going to be huge. So let me talk about why I want to go Chris Carson here. Josh Jacobs, we'll go around about him now. I think I like Josh Jacobs. I drafted him in a league that I'm pay money for. I drafted him. And I said, you know what? I think he could be good this year. I think that if the Raiders use him as a workhorse, he will get those yards every game. He'll score those touchdowns. He'll catch those passes. And he will be useful. Derrick Henry, he's all, in my mind, I just don't draft him because I just really don't believe in Derrick Henry. I'm not a Derrick Henry truther. I believe that a lot of his games are going to look like the first couple of games, the first 12 games of last season. He really only played good in 4 games, and that was during the playoffs, but for fantasy playoffs. But I don't think that Derrick Henry is a guy that you're really going to be able to rely upon, so you just avoid that. And then Chris Carson, the one that I want to draft. I like Chris Carson a lot. Now, the thing I like most about Chris Carson is that I think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be the most run-heavy team in the league, if not top 5. They run the ball so much. Pete Carroll is addicted to running the ball unless it's on the 1-yard line against the New England Patriots. Now, I've made that joke before. If you're tired of hearing it, I'm sorry, but they love running the ball. They're going to use Chris Carson, and they're also going to use Rashad Penny a lot. I like getting Carson or Penny in every single draft. So the thing here is, with Carson, the reason why I also like him is now it's looking like a 2/3 share towards Carson. I don't necessarily believe that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be more 60-40 or 50-50 in Carson's favor. But what I do know is reports are coming out that Chris Carson's catching balls out of the backfield. He's going to be getting around 50 receptions this year, according to Pete Carroll. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Maybe. I fucking hope it does. And if that does happen, that gives him even more value. A guy who I didn't really anticipate being much of a pass catching back. So we're going to go with Chris Carson here. I think he's the safest option there. by far. Right? Josh Jacobs way better than Derrick Henry too. So after him was Chris Carson, Julian Edelman came off the board, followed by Brandon Cooks, George Kittle, Me Timbers, Josh Jacobs, Philip Lindsay, Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin fell pretty late there. That's a great pick there for that guy. After Chris Godwin came off the board, Kenny Galladay came, followed by Cooper Kupp, AJ Green, OJ Howard, Sony Michel, Tevin Coleman, Mac Ingram, Tyler Lockett, Deshaun Watson, DJ Moore, Evan Ingram, and then Aaron Rodgers. So, 3 quarterbacks already off the board. That's pretty typical for the first 5 rounds, unless you're playing in a league with some crazy mofos who like drafting them quarterbacks early, and that will happen in some of your leagues. I'm not saying it's going to happen in every league. What happens in these mock drafts is not likely not going to happen in your league, but it's still going to prepare you for what to do because you're going to be able to see players going around certain areas that you can snag. So, with that being said, we've got our 3 wideouts. We could look the way of quarterback, which we don't do typically on this channel this early, so we'll look away. Or we could go with a top tight end, a guy like Evan Ingram or not Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's already off the board, but a guy like Hunter Henry could end up being a top 5 tight end. But I would much rather look the way of a wideout here. Now, this is kind of a tough decision, but not really. It's between Boyd and Mike Williams. Now, Mike Williams is in an offense that is likely going to be very, very pass heavy this year because if Melvin Gordon holds out like I believe he will, they're going to rely more on the passing game. Keenan Allen is currently injured. How important is that injury? Probably not that important because he'll probably play week 1, so it's fucking fine, but Mike Williams is on an offense that likes to sling the ball. He scored 10 touchdowns last year on very little targets, which is kind of abnormal. But if you think about it, he was scoring 10 touchdowns on little targets. Now he's going to be getting more targets. They shipped Tyrell Williams the fuck out of there, sent him to the Raiders. So now what I'm thinking is maybe he may even be able to score 11 or 12 touchdowns, which is kind of big numbers over there. It's hard to predict touchdowns though. He may end up with only 8. But what I do know is now that Tyrell Williams is gone, he's going to be a big part of this offense, the wide receiver 2 on the team. But Hunter Henry is obviously going to retract from that because Hunter Henry, Philip Rivers loves using the tight end. So I think I like Williams, but I'd much rather just go with Tyler Boyd here, a guy who I know his role. We know he's the wide receiver 2 on Cincinnati. Right now, he's the wide receiver 1 because AJ Green is injured and he will be playing as the wide receiver 1. Andy Dalton will target him a lot. I already know that. Jeff Driscoll was throwing him the ball because Andy Dalton was hurt, and he still played pretty well. Now they have a better coach. They used to have Marvin Lewis, that sorry coach. He was very bad. And now they have Zach Taylor as the coach. Should be better. Anything's better than garbage. So Tyler Boyd should be pretty good here. We have 2 wide receivers on the same bye, but that doesn't really affect my decision usually. After we went with Tyler Boyd, James White came out the board, followed by Baker Mayfield, and now is our pick yet again. So it is time to load up on the running backs, to fucking swing your dick down and draft a bunch of running backs, because at the end of the day, you guys know, it's so easy to just pick up some wide receivers on the waiver wire. It's so easy to find a wide receiver in the 7th or 8th round that I love. But what I do know is the running backs, they go fast. All right? So right now, Lamar Miller's on the board. We're not drafting him due to the fact that Duke Johnson is in town. The Duke is in town. He's going to eat up a lot of what Lamar Miller's safety was. Donta Foreman, if I'm being honest, really wasn't it. He wasn't that great. I was still drafting him on the hope that he would pass Lamar Miller, but he got shipped off. So now it's going to be Duke and Miller. It could be 60-40. Duke's getting all the pass catching work. Lamar Miller will barely catch balls. It's a half PPR format. You don't really want that. So looking at Kenyon Drake, Myles Sanders, Austin Eckler at this very pick. So the thing is, you could go with Kenyon Drake, who has that injury. It's unclear if he'll play week 1 against the Ravens. He's dealing with his foot injury. And it's looking like Kalen Ballage may emerge and become the RB1 on that team. Or you can go with Myles Sanders, who's not the RB1 right now, it's Jordan Howard, but could emerge to become that RB1 on the team. He got 5 carries on Thursday, rushed the ball 5 times for 31 yards, looked great, and has drawn rave practice reviews as well. So maybe he may even be the starter week 1. Or you go with Austin Eckler, the pass-catching back on the LA Chargers. If Melvin Gordon's out for 8 games, 10 games, or they ship him off to another team, that could prove to be great. So you have a tough decision here, because since you're drafting this guy as your 4th running back, if you draft Kenyon Drake, and he comes back week 2 or 3, or even comes back week 1, you could just have him ride the pine for a bit and see what happens and draft Balaj later to handcuff him. Or you could go with Myles Sanders, which is what I'm going to do because I believe Myles Sanders has the highest upside of any of these guys. Myles Sanders, I think, could end up being a top end RB2, which in a 12-team league means he'll be like the 13th, 14th, 15th guy every single week or at the end of the season. And I think that Myles Sanders has a lot of opportunity to be great here on Philadelphia. They typically go with the running back by committee coach, but they approach, but they really haven't had such talent at the running back position like Myles Sanders. So we're gonna go with Myles Sanders here. I would go with Myles Sanders, Lamar Miller came off the board, followed by Jarvis Landry, Kenyon Drake, Mike Williams, Andrew, Lucky Charms, Rashad Penny, Tariq Cohen, Alshon Jeffrey, Darius Geis, Allen Robinson, Robbie Anderson, Drew Brees, Latavius Murray, Matt Ryan, Christian Kirk, Will Fuller, Hunter Henry, Carson Wentz, Kyler Murray. So currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks out of the 12 teams have came off the board. So we don't worry over here on this channel. We stay calm. You don't get nervous when the quarterbacks come off the board and the tight ends come off the board and you don't have one. You don't panic. You just can't panic because the guys are still going to fall to you. Unless you're a huge Cam Newton guy and you love Cam Newton, you're going to have to pull the trigger likely here or in the next round because the guys around me already have quarterbacks, so likely you'd wait till the 8th round unless they went with some crazy shit and went 2 quarterbacks before you even get your quarterback, which will happen in some leagues now. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tight ends have came off the board, so the tight end value here is still pretty strong with Jared Cook, but I'd rather just take the risk and wait a bit. Now, there are some great wide receivers still here and some great running backs, so I'm just going to secure some more running back depth because running backs win your championship. You need a lot of running backs to win your championship because running backs go down a lot more times than a wide receiver will go down. It's a lot more likely that a running back gets hurt. So you want to make sure you get a lot of them and you get a lot of good ones. So with this pick, we could go with running. There's 2 running backs that I'm looking at here: Henderson or Royce Freeman. You could also go with the approach of going Jordan Howard and securing the Philadelphia Eagles backfield, which I may do, but not in this mock because I don't necessarily think I should do that in this specific draft because I really do believe that Myles Sanders will just be the running back one, and I don't know how much usage Jordan Howard will even get. So it's between Darrell Henderson and Royce Freeman. Now, I already know who I'm going to go, but I'm going to give you the argument for both of them. Now, Darrell Henderson could be the running back one for the Rams if Todd Gurley's injury, his arthritis, it scares me. It really does, and it really should scare you because if he has this arthritis in the knee, that means that there's going to be games where you think he's good to go. He's in, he's ready. Start up your engines. It's Todd Gurley time. And then he fucking his knee hits against someone's helmet, or his knee hits the ground incorrectly, and he's out for a few drives. He comes back in. He isn't the same guy. Now reports coming out he's running fast. He's a fast motherfucker. Todd Gurley is apparently. He's running so fast. What the fuck does that matter? It matters when he's planting. It matters when he's turning corners. It matters in the real games when you tell me, Mr. McVay, this is at you. I like you, Sean McVay. You seem like a great coach, but man, you can't be telling me in the Super Bowl that Todd Gurley's going to be good, and then he barely plays, and the fucking Patriots win another Super Bowl. What is that? Come on, McVay. I don't know. I don't believe McVay when he's talking about how good Todd Gurley will be. I really just don't. And I think Darrell Henderson may be the answer here in the 7th round. Maybe a guy that you can start a lot of weeks. But I think I'd just rather go with a known commodity. I know Royce Freeman will get 50% of the touches in Denver. Maybe not 50, maybe 40. 40, right? It's going to go 40 to him, 40 to Lindsey, and then 10% to Mr. Theo Riddick. But at the end of the day, I really do think Royce is going to emerge. He played great in the first preseason game. You can't buy everything off the preseason game. He got loose for a 50-yard run. You can't buy everything off that one preseason game. Just like everyone's sipping the Kool-Aid on the fact that Kyler Murray played like shit in the second week, but he played good the first week of the preseason. Who knows? The offensive line's terrible. That's what I know. But back to Royce Freeman, I really just like him more. I think he's going to emerge this year. Last year, he was stuck behind Lindsey because Lindsey was just playing out of his mind, straight up bonkers. But I think Royce Freeman will emerge this year, so we're going to go with him here. I actually went with Royce Freeman, Dante Pettis came at the board, followed by the first defense, Chicago Bears. Now, if this is a real draft, you laugh at that guy. Drafting the Bears that early is not the smartest of moves, in my opinion. So, Now we could snag Darrell Henderson here, but we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs, and I'd rather just get a wide receiver here. Now this is the range where I am most confused on who to pick, but I don't feel wrong with any of the decisions. So it's Watkins, Allison, Samuel, Marvin Jones, or Dede Westbrook or MVS. This is a decision that I don't think will really impact your team too heavily. Like maybe unless the guy gets hurt, I think they'll all finish near each other. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm just crazy or something, but I really like Sammy Watkins now. He played great in these fucking playoff games. Sorry that I keep cursing. In these playoff games for the Kansas City Chiefs, he went loose for 100 yards 2 games in a row, and I think that's how they'll use him this year. But since I picked him in a lot of these mocks, I'd like to talk about Curtis Samuel, and we'll pick him now. The thing about Curtis Samuel is in and towards the end of the season, he was being when him and DJ Moore were out on the field, he was outperforming Curtis Samuel in practice and in preseason. This dude's eating 13 yards in the loss. Actually, he didn't play great today. He only got 1 of 3 targets, but that's fine because it's preseason. He finishes camp strong. He was going hard in the paint. He's impressing everyone. I think he's gonna impress you. And honestly, he may finish better than DJ Moore. Now I've drafted DJ Moore in one of my leagues. That is my at-home league. But I'm not really regretting it because I think DJ Moore is going to be great. But I think Curtis Samuel is also going to be great. And you're getting a huge discount on him here in the 8th round. So we selected Curtis Samuel here. So after we went Curtis Samuel, Jordan Howard came off the board, followed by Larry Fitz, Darrell Henderson, Geronimo Allison, Jared Cook, Eric Ebron, LaShawn McCoy, Kareem Hunt, Corey Davis, Vance McDonald, Cam Newton, Ronald Jones, Sammy Watkins, Marvin Jones, Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, MVS, David Njoku, Jalen Samuel, Jared Goff. So now teams are starting to draft their backup quarterback, so we would want to pull the trigger soon here on quarterback. But I'm just going to get another wide receiver here because one of my favorite wide receivers fell to me, and that is Dede Westbrook, Jacksonville Jaguars wideout here. Now, he's not the number one necessarily on the team, but he will be. He will be in the slot, and Marquise Lee's out, and for the first couple of games, I think he's on the pup right now, and I think that Dede Westbrook's really gonna benefit. Oh my God, I'm sorry that there was just a weird ass noise outside of my house. It was a plane, I believe. Or it's a UFO, and we out here getting abducted. But you know what I'm saying? It's Dede Westbrook. I like him because he's the wide. I'll go back and say I like him because he's going to be the wide receiver one in targets there. Nick Foles loves. He's got an affection and an erection for the Dede Westbrook. He loves that slot. He's a slot guy. You know, we ain't slot shaming here because Dede Westbrook's going to be great. I just know it. He was great last year. He played great with Blake Bortles, who's a worse quarterback than Mr. Let's see, then he was a worse wide receiver than our worst quarterback than Blake Bortles. I'm so sorry. He has this groin. He's dealing with this groin injury. He's battling groin soreness, probably because he's gonna be fucking your opponents so hard. That's why his groin hurts. I love Dede Westbrook here, and I'm gonna take him a lot late in drafts if he falls to me. He's honestly creeping up. He was a guy that I was getting in like the 11th or 12th round. He's creeping up to the 9th. I've seen him going like the 8th. 7th, and I'm just like, God damn, you dirty bitch. How did you climb up that fast? So after we went with Dede Westbrook, famous James came at the board, followed by Sterling Shepard. So right now, I'm pulling the trigger on quarterback because I don't even know if one that I like will come back to me now. I have a strong suspicion that Lamar Jackson is going to be great in fantasy football this year. Now, I like Dak. I like Josh Allen. But I'm really just feeling Lamar Jackson. After watching that game, that preseason game, if you guys watched it, he played 2 drives. He went for 6 for 10 for 58 yards and rushed twice for 14 yards. Now, you might tell me that, oh, that does not seem that good. But he rushed this 20-yard run that got called back. He looked great. He juked the shit out of someone, hopped in the end zone. It looked great. He's like a goddamn running back in the quarterback position. Now, he is going to need to figure out how to throw the ball. And if he can figure out how to throw the ball, like I believe he will, because he's been working on it all offseason, I think he's going to be a better passer. He's going to be just as good in the running game. He may somehow rush for 1,000 yards in the season. That would be some crazy shit. That's crazy if he somehow does that. But you're going to be getting so many fantasy points from him, from rushing, from throwing. He's going to be rushing touchdowns, throwing touchdowns. And I think that he's honestly just a great pick back here. And 4-point especially. 4-point passing touchdown, because if he runs a touchdown in, which he will do a lot, he'll just say, fuck you, Mark Ingram, and run one in. And you get 6 points for the rushing touchdown, but only 4 for the passing touchdown. So guys that rush the ball running in those touchdowns are better. And also, Lamar Jackson, when he rushes the ball, you only need 10 yards to get 1 point. Whereas if he was to pass, you need 25 yards to get 1 point. A guy that's going to be rushing potentially 50 or 60 yards a game, that's 6 free points or 5 free points. So that's pretty good. After Lamar Jackson, AP went off the board, followed by Kalen Balaj, LA Rams, N'Keal Harry, Emmanuel Sanders, Peyton Barber, Carlos Hyde, DK Metcalf, Phil the Thrill Rivers, Duke Johnson, Damian Harris, Deshaun Jackson, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Berger, Dante Moncrief, Matt Breida, Tom Brady the GOAT, James Washington, Devin, Bunches of Funches, and the Jags defense. So we currently need a tight end. We are in need of a tight end. And you know what? Lo and behold, Mr. Lamar Jackson's teammate, Mark Andrews, is still here. He's typically going around the 9th or 10th round. He nabbed 2 passes to start the preseason. Ain't that great. But what I know is that Lamar Jackson's going to be targeting this man in the regular season. In training camp, I'm seeing all these videos of Lamar Jackson throwing the ball to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is the best tight end on the team. Hayden Hurst is not. Mark Andrews will eat this year. I know that for a fact. A lot of people, they're retracting their, oh, Mark Andrews is going to be great. I believe Mark Andrews is going to be great. Maybe not as good as I previously believed of him potentially being like a top 5 tight end, some crazy shit. But I think he could still end up as one of those top 12 tight ends at the end of the year who plays pretty solid a lot of the games. And we already have Lamar Jackson, so we're getting double points for this Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews touchdown. So we like that. So after we went with Mark Andrews, Kiki Kuti came at the board, followed by Anthony Miller. So it's time to get some more running backs. And we're just going to load up on guys here that I really like. So right here, we're going to go with Justin Jackson, running back, LA Chargers, because it's looking like Melvin Gordon is going to miss 10 fucking games. And that's a damn shame. And not a damn shame, though, for Justin Jackson. 8, 10 games, 4 games, however many games Melvin Gordon misses, you can throw Justin Jackson in as your flex, and he'll play great. Now, he played great last season when Melvin Gordon was injured, so that's why I think he'll play great this year. It's going to be the Eckler Justin Jackson show. It's not going to be just the Justin Jackson show or just the Eckler show. Eckler played great in preseason, sure, but Justin Jackson can do it. We've seen it before, and I like it here in the 12th round. After with Justin Jackson, Austin Hooper came off the board, followed by Alexander Madison, Golden Tate, Baltimore Ravens defense, Delaney Walker, TJ Hawkinson, LA Chargers defense, Greg Zerline, Tyrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, Dickie Dak Prescott, Cleveland Browns, Justin Jackson, Flash Gordon, the savior of the universe, Jimmy Garoppolo, Minnesota Vikings, Trey Boo Boo, or Trey Burton, that's from the Fantasy Footballers, if you guys have ever watched them. Darwin Thompson, John Brown, and Jamison Crowder. So let me talk about Josh Gordon real quick. Now, Josh Gordon got reinstated into the NFL. If he plays Week 1 on the Patriots, I'm scared because I'm not as high on him as a lot of people slate him as a wide receiver 3. I don't know if he'll be that good. I don't know if he'll be able to stay off the weed. You know what I'm saying? If he'll be able to stay off that weed. But what I do know is that when he's on the field, he's dangerous. He is feeling dangerous. And he's not going to go in the 13th round. I didn't even think about picking him. But in the 13th round, that's just a steal. He's not going to go there. He'll go in like the 8th or 7th round because everyone loves them some Josh Gordon. They love what he did 5 years ago on the Browns. They loved when he was playing while he was high and drunk. They loved that. And I loved it too. It was beautiful. But at the end of the day, Josh Gordon is definitely going to be drafted way too high, I think. For his price is going to be way too high for what I really want from Josh Gordon. So I don't even think I'm going to end up drafting him in any drafts. Like, if you already drafted him, congratulations, because you probably drafted him in the 12th round, the 13th round, the 11th round, and you're going to have like a wide receiver 3 that was pretty much free, and that's a rhyme for you boys. No girls watch these videos, just so you guys know. It's 100% male. Check the analytics. It's 100% male. So if you can send this to your girlfriend, your mom, anyone, your sister, your auntie, anyone, your grandma, maybe she enjoys fantasy football, it would really mean a lot. So I can get that 1% woman viewership. So, with that being said, we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs and 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. So in fantasy, you need more running backs than wide receivers on your finishing or when you finish the draft, and you do not need a backup quarterback or a backup tight end, especially in a 10 or 12 team league. Maybe if a lot of guys are going with backup quarterbacks, maybe you pull a trigger on a backup quarterback. In a 10 team league, no. In an 18 team league, no. Or an 18 team league, yes. In an 18 league, no. In a 14 team league, yes. Only in like a 12 or 14 team league would I even think. If you're playing an 18 or 16 team league, you're crazy. So we won't go with a backup quarterback. We'll just draft one more running back here. because we already have solid wide receivers. So we'll go with Tony Pollard here. Now, this pick could be irrelevant when you're watching this, if you're watching this 10 days from now and Zeke signs. But right now, with Zeke not being signed, if he misses 3 games, 2 games, you can play Tony Pollard in your flex. Tony Pollard is going to be the running back one on that team. Anyone can run behind this Dallas Cowboys line, and Tony Pollard has been getting talked up by Dak, the coaches, the beat reporters, beaten off to the fact that Tony Pollard can carry that load. So we're going to go with Tony Pollard here. After we picked Tony Pollard, Deion Lewis came off the board, followed by Justin Tucker, the fucker. So now it's our pick to go defense. Now, when you're going to pick a defense, you're going to go on Google for me, all right? You're going to type in NFL schedule week 1. You're going to find a defense playing against a shitty offense and draft that defense. The Cowboys are playing the Giants week 1 against Saquon. I typically don't like playing a defense against one of my players, but at the end of the day, Saquon will score and Eli will throw a pick or two and get sacked a lot. So after we went with the Cowboys, a bunch of kickers and defense went, followed by Kirk Cousins, then a bunch of kickers and defense, and then Jimmy Graham, Paris Campbell, me, Cole Hardman, a kicker, and then Ito Smith, Naheem Hines, Kissin, Teddy Trubisky, Adam Vinatieri, Jordan Reed, and now we get our kicker. Best kicker available is Michael Badgley. And then after Michael Badgley went Michael Gallup, the double Michael round. So our finishing lineup at quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Our 2 running backs are Saquon and Nick Chubb. Our 2 wideouts are Robert Woods and Tyler Boyd. Our tight end is Mark Andrews. Our flex is Chris Carson. Our kicker is Michael Badgley. Our defense is the boys, the Cowboys, that is. Our bench is comprised of Myles Sanders, Royce, Freeman, Curtis Samuel, Dede Westbrook, Justin Jackson, and Tony Pollard. So thank you guys all for watching the video. Like I said at the beginning, if you could, please subscribe if you haven't already. It would really mean a lot to me. If you could check out my sponsor down below, that would also mean a lot to me. You don't even have to buy anything. Just look at it. Shit looks awesome. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys come back to watch the other 2 videos that come out today. If not, it's whatever. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great goddamn day. I love all of you. Goodbye, guys.